Okay, we are all set up here. It is Money Mondays here again. We are finishing up this series on target costing today. So, we've been doing this three-part series. And how all of this started is that I put out a newsletter probably about a month ago now, where I was talking about designing to a cost. So, a lot of us, if we've been in the industry for a long time, we tend to find that as we go through the design part of a season and then start getting into development and we start getting costing in, we realize that, well, shit, we developed stuff that was going to cost too much. We didn't design to a cost. And so now we're dropping all of these styles, right? So all of this work that our team has done, we've put in all of this effort, all of this research, all of this creative energy into designing this beautiful collection. Everything's supposed to go together. All of the pieces are supposed to merchandise together on a floor beautifully. And now things cost too much, so we're dropping half of it. And like, what the hell? Like, how are we supposed to now merchandise that line the same way? How is it supposed to show up on the floor the same way? Like, it literally won't if you're dropping half of your line because of costing. So, my proposal in that newsletter was to start off your entire season with a costing exercise. Give target, oh, excuse me, sorry, talking too fast. Give target costs to your designers. Let them work with that. They are very smart people. They understand this industry better than most. And you would be really surprised to know that it would actually help them. It would help their creative energy. It would help their creative flow if you would give them the parameters that you need up front instead of letting them go hog wild, putting a bazillion zippers on and the most expensive trims and ordering the most expensive fabric. So, my proposal at that time was give those target costs to your designer, let them design backwards into that cost, and then believe it or not, you're going to get protos in that actually cost what you need them to cost, and you can actually keep your entire collection in the line. What does this do for you in the long run? It helps you keep teammates, like designers who get sick of watching their designs drop out of lines over and over and over again leave companies. They get sick of it and they get depressed, and we all get depressed when we work really hard on something and then all of a sudden it's killed and our project is gone. Like, nobody wants to keep doing that. So of course we see huge amounts of turnover from our design teams because we don't work with them up front in giving them the tools that they need to create products that are going to stay in the line that they can eventually actually see come to life and get on the shop floor. So, what I've been talking about since then, for the last few weeks, we've been doing a three-part series on getting to a target cost that you can give to your designers. And so part one was doing your competitor research. You need to know what your retail price is going to be. What do you want to sell this item for? And so we're going to use some really easy math here today. We're going to use $100 as our retail price. I like to use $100 because really easy math I can do in my head. So $100, let's say we've done our competitor research. We know that we can sell this legging for $100. Our consumer's going to eat it up. They're going to buy it all day long. $100 is no problem. And then in part two, last week, we talked about how to then turn that into a quick and dirty target cost. So what are we asking our factory to send to us in the way of a cost? Like, how much is this going to how much is it going to cost for them to make it for us? And we want that to be divide by 5. So take $100, that's what I'm going to sell it for. I'm dividing by 5. I want my factory cost to be $20. So at the end of the day, when they give me my cost breakdown sheet and they're charging me for that garment, we want it to be $20. And that allows me to then add shipping costs to it, allows me to add duty rates and tariffs, which are now a new thing we need to be talking about. It allows me to add all of that to it and land it in my warehouse. And then it allows me to have a pretty healthy margin for both direct to consumer and wholesale. Okay, so that's where we're at right now. We have this target cost, this $20. I'm going to round it up to $21 today so we can do some easy math again. So we're going to say we have a $21 target cost. Now, the reason I'm rounding up to 21 is because the next step is to divide by 3. So when you are taking your target cost with your manufacturer and target cost with your factory, you want to take that cost and you want to generally divide by 3. Again, this is down and dirty. Now, if you have really, really good numbers, you have like really clear numbers and you have a history of being able to do this year over year with your factory or with your line sheet or with your team, and you want to do something a lot more robust than this, by all means, you absolutely should. But if you're just starting out and you want to kind of get a guess, this is a really easy way for you to do it. I want you to take that target cost, divide it by 3. So your first third is actually going to be the overhead and profit that you can expect to be paying to your factory. A third of it is going to go to them. Now, we need to make a profit in our business. They need to make a profit in their business too. And remember, it is key to have a partnership with your factory. You want to be building a relationship. You want to be a partner with them. That is how you're going to get better timing. You are going to get better quality. You're going to get better costing. If you are a partner and you have a relationship with your factory, you're not just demanding a bunch of stuff out of them. You want to create something good there, right? So you want to promote their profitability. You want them to be making money. Of course, we're all businesses, right? So a third of it is about what you can be expecting to pay to your factory. So in this, we can expect to pay about $7 to our factory. And they're going to include that in the hours or the minutes that it takes for them to sew the garment, to package the garment, all of the minutes that is going to go into that garment. It's also going to go into their overhead. I've had different factory owners walk me through all the way down to like, it costs me $100 every single month to buy light bulbs for my factory. And so for every single garment that we make, it costs half of a cent per garment to be able to buy light bulbs every single month. And he breaks it down in a very specific way to know that that's what his overhead needs to be for every single garment. Now, if you're getting a cost breakdown from your factory and you're finding that they're probably reaching over that 30%, that is a great point for you to negotiate with them. That is something that you can talk to them about. A lot of factories don't love to negotiate on their profitability and on their overhead, but it is something that you can now know that about 30% of your garment price from them is going to be profit for them. If you're getting up into that 50% range, that $20 that you want to get from them, your fabric cost and your trim costs are only $10, so they're making like $10 of profit. That's probably a little much. You might be able to negotiate that down. Okay, so a third of it is going to be factory profitability. You can kind of just set that aside, right? Another third is going to be your fabric price. So this is a really, really important one to give to your designers. So now $7 is your fabric price. Let's say we're making a basic t-shirt and we know that it's only going to be a yard of fabric for this t-shirt. We've gotten our yield from our factory, or we have a pattern maker in-house who can give us the yield of the garment. 1 yard. So we need to find fabric that costs $7 a yard or less. Super simple, right? If it's going to be a very large garment, or if it's going to be something that takes up a lot of fabric, maybe we're making some huge dress, a ball gown, and it's going to take up 3 different yards. Well, now we need to divide that by 3. So you need to make sure that you're using your yield with your fabric like price that goes into your target cost to make sure that you're estimating that properly. A lot of garments, especially in the performance apparel space, will really only take about a yard and a half, maybe 2 yards at the most if you're making like a really big bulky outerwear garment. And so you can use those kinds of numbers. But what you want to do is allocate a third of your target cost to fabric. And so that, again, tell your designers that. Now you're looking for a fabric that costs $7 a yard or less. And that is going to be really, really helpful for them to go out and make sure that they're sourcing that for you. The other third, the final third, goes into your packaging, goes into your trims. So now, instead of your designers putting on 10 different zippers and the most expensive buttons, they know they only have $7 for those things. So they might only have one key zipper. They might have a budget button. And if they need to put labels on it, they need to know how much their heat transfers are going to cost, how much their labels are going to cost. Sometimes those are only 10 cents per garment. And so you should know those details, though. You should be asking your factory for those details. You should have the cost per item that goes onto your garment so that you can add all of this up and your factory can give you that information. And then you can give it to your designers so that they know, okay, in this $7 that I'm pretty much allowed to spend on trims and on packaging and all of that stuff, 10 cents of it automatically is going to be my care label. And 30 cents of it is going to be the branding heat transfer that we have to have on everything. And then another 15 cents is going to go into the hang tag, the Swift tack, and the poly bag that we're putting things in, or however you're packaging stuff. And so what you want to do then is kind of break it down. You almost want to be making your own cost breakdown sheet from your bill of materials at this early stage. And what this is going to do is, number one, it's going to help you design into that cost so that when you get your first proto back, it's likely going to cost what you need it to, so you don't have to drop it. Yay! And number two, it is really going to help you get to a point where you understand your costing numbers so well that if it comes back so different from what you're expecting, you automatically know right off the bat, this is a key style for me to negotiate with my factory. And you have the information at your fingertips already. You've already done that work to go into the negotiation room with them and let them know what you want to be able to get down to. Share your target cost with your design team, share your target cost with your factory. And I think this will really start to help our industry get to a place where we are not over designing styles. So everything you're designing with your team is actually going to be made, and everything that you're working on, all of those protos that you're putting into work aren't just going to become literal trash. That is what we don't want to see. So those are my top 3 tips on how to come up with a target cost, on how to give that to your designers, and then how to work backwards into designing to a target cost so that you can be a happy team. If you have any questions on this, as always, please let me know. I'd love to get comments below this video and we can have conversations about it. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you next week.